Shalom Israel, Yabashim Shabrak Thumb. To the brothers, Yabashim Al Thumb, Bashim Yal Shai. To the sisters, my priest officer Parak. To my right, priest officer of 1,000, Oscar War. All right, we holding down the closing to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Get that in hand. You understand? This is a glorious event, man. Of course, we remember just a week ago we was all together in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was a beautiful thing, man. We got to see our brothers and sisters that we never get to see throughout the year. All right. And we held our Passover down. We held our Feast of Unleavened Bread down. And it was just a glorious weekend. You understand? But we want to make sure we keep that same spirit throughout the year. You understand? It could be damn near depressing sometimes when you got to leave all your brothers and you go back to your zone. Right. But we got to hold that same spirit, because the same thing that we felt like the damn kingdom of heaven was coming down when it was in the Passover, we got to keep that same spirit and push it in our zones. Right. So today is the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and we're going to get it in. We're going to read these scriptures. We're going to read about these feast days, and we're going to eat with each other and love each other just like we just did a week ago. You got anything, sir?
No.
All right. With that, we're going to get started. I majum, which means to stand. Everybody else, I majum. Opanyakwadum, which means to face the east.
Just back up.
Right. We're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abadaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwatka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathananawa, Nakam, Kal Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kal Watnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kal Watinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Manasai 1, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Raikaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Watha Para, Laiwalamyam, Aman.
Now in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
We're going to read the cock of the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Babu Kushah, Nathanawa, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Kal Maka'ala, Wakal Madawa, Hakat Latahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, Lakwayam, Hamathium, Hakak, Arakawa, Hatama'ala, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Waraman.
Now in the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it.
We're going to read Psalms, the 121st chapter in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al-Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka,
Yakaka,
Wayarak,
Wayara,
Balayala,
Balayala,
Yahawa,
Yahawah,
Yashamarka,
Yashamarka,
Bakal Rai,
Makal Rai,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Athnapashka,
Athnapashka,
Yahawa,
Yahawah,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Taza Athka,
Taza'athka,
Waba,
Waba,
Wa'aka,
Wa'aka,
Ma'aitha,
Ma'aitha,
Wa'ai,
Wa'ai,
Awalam.
Awalam. Now in the English, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all
The
evil.
Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. We're going to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter in the Hebrew. Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Aldama Yalaka,
Aldama Yalaka,
Al Thakarash,
Al Thakarash,
Wa Al Thashakwat,
Wa Al Thashakwat,
Al
Al
Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awa Yabyaka,
Awa Yabyaka,
Yahamaya 1,
Yahamaya 1,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al Imaka,
Al Imaka,
Ya'ira Yamwa,
Ya'ara Yamwa,
Sawada,
Sawada,
Wayatha,
Wayatha,
Ya'itazawa,
Ya'itazawa,
Al Tazapawanyaka,
Al Tazapawanyaka,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Lakawa,
Lakawa,
Wanakakyadam,
Wanakakadam,
Magauya,
Magauya,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Sham Yasharala,
Iwada,
Iwada,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawaitazawa,
Nawaitazawa,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa,
Alyaka,
Alyaka,
Baryat,
Baryat,
Yakarathwa,
Yakarathwa,
Ahalya,
Ahalya,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashama Alayam,
Wayashama Alyam,
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'aba,
Wahagarya,
Wahagaryam,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wa'ima 1,
Wa'ima 1,
Wa'ima Lak,
Wa'ima Lak,
Palashah,
Palashah,
I'm Yeshabya,
I'm Yeshabya,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Zarwai,
Zarwai,
Labanya Lawat,
Labanya Lawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishalaham,
Aishalaham,
Kamadyan,
Kamadyan,
Kasaya,
Kasaya,
Sara'ah,
Sara'ah,
Kayabyan,
Kayabyan,
Banakal,
Banakal,
Kwayash 1,
Kwayash 1,
Nashamagwa,
Nashamagwa,
Ba'ayan,
Ba'ayan,
Da'ara,
Da'ara,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Daman,
Daman,
La'adama,
La'adama,
Shayathamwa,
Shayathamwa,
Nada,
Nada,
Yamawa,
Yamawa,
Ka'ira,
Ka'ira,
Wakaza'aba,
Wakaza Abba,
Wakazabak,
Wakazabak,
Wakatazal,
Wakatazal,
Mana'ai,
Mana'ai,
Call,
Call,
Nasaya Kamwa,
Nasaya Kamwa,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Naya Rasha,
Naya Rashad,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Na'awat,
Na'awat,
Alahayam,
Alahayam,
Alahaya,
Alahayam,
Shayathamwa,
Shayathamwa,
Kagalgala,
Kagawgala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya Raka,
Lapanya Raka,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Taba'ira,
Taba'ira,
Ya'ira,
Ya'ira,
Wakala Haba,
Wakala Haba,
Talahat,
Talahat,
Haryam,
Haryam,
Khan,
Khan,
Tharadapma,
Taradapma,
Masa'iraka,
Masa'iraka,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Wapathka,
Wapatka,
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'a,
Mala'ah,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Kwalawan,
Kwalawan,
Wayabakwashwa,
Wayabakwashwa,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Wayabahawa,
Wayabahawa,
Aya Ai,
Ayai,
Wayakaparwa,
Wayakaparwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Kaya Atha,
Kaya'atha,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Labadka,
Labadka,
Ayawan,
Ayawan,
Alkal,
Alkal,
Ha'arataza.
Ha'arataza. Now in the English, keep not thou silence, O God.
Keep not thou silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo,
lo,
thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee,
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted against thine hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come, Come. And let us cut them off.
And let us cut them off.
From being a nation.
From being a nation.
That the name of Israel.
That the name of Israel.
Maybe no one remembers.
Maybe no one remembers.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
Of Moab.
Of Moab.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
Gebal.
Gebal.
And Ammon.
And Ammon.
And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines.
The Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur.
Assur.
Also is joined with them.
Also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As unto the Midianites.
As unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kison.
At the brook of Kison.
Which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
And like Zeeb.
And like Zeeb.
Yea. All their princes as Zebah.
All their princes as Zebah.
And as Zalmunna.
And as Zalmunna.
Who said.
Let
us take to ourselves.
Let us take to ourselves.
The houses of God in possession.
The houses of God in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As a stubble before the wind.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
And the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them. With thy tempest.
With thy tempest.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name, O Lord.
That they may seek thy name, O Lord.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
And troubled forever.
And troubled forever.
Yea.
Let
them be put to shame and perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou.
That men may know that thou.
Whose name alone is Yahweh.
Whose name alone is Yahweh.
Are the most high over all the earth.
Are the most high over all the earth. We're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatha Yahweh.
Barakatha Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Ma'aka Allah.
Wa Ma'aka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawab Yahana.
Alawab Yahana.
Ha'alawapyam.
Ha'alawapyam.
Hasaranyam.
Hasaranyam.
Akwatazayanyam.
Akwatazayanyam.
Akayayoyam.
Akayayoyam.
Wahagwatin.
Wahagwatin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
The Wadaman.
Wadaman. No, in English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohana.
Commanding General Yohana.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Sir, while you're shopping, you be seated. You able to get that? Yeah, fine. All right, so now we're going to read the book of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, beginning with the first 7 verses in the Hebrew.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 1. Wayadabar Yahweh al Mashah La'amar, verse 2. The bar al Banayah Yasharala Wamarath Alaham Mawa'ida Yahweh Ashar Thakarawa Atham, verse 3. Shashath. 1 second. Verse 3. Shashad Yamayam Ta'aisha Mala'aka Lapayawam Hashabaya Hashab Hashabaya Shabbath Shabbatha 1 Makora Kodash Call Mala'aka La'atha Aishawa Shabbath Hawa Allah Yahweh Bakal Mawashab Bath Yakam. Verse 4. Alama wide the Yahweh Makora Aya Atham Bama Wa'idam. Verse 5. Bakadash Harasha 1 Ba'araba Iha Aisharala Kadash Banya Hira Bayam Pasak La Yahweh. Verse 6. Waba Kamasha Aishara Yawam Lakadash Haza Akak Kag Hamatazawath Lahayawa Shabaith Yamayam Matazawath Ta'akalwa. Verse 7. Bayawam Hara'ashawan Makora'a Kwadash Yahawalakam Kalmala Akaf Abadallah Sha'ishawa Ta'ishawa. 7 verses, now in English.
Oh yeah, you have to use that one, Salaki. That's the Tanakh. To the side.
But it was 23, right?
Yes, sir.
It's like, so you could sit on over here in the front. Yes.
That's what I thought.
Sisters always sit on this side.
Oh, I thought I had pants, so it's probably.
Oh, you
all
fine,
good.
sis.
You're
You
all
good.
right.
Yeah, it's all
right.
good. No,
No,
sis,
you
you
good.
All right, so what he just read was Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verses 1 through 7 in the Hebrew. Now we're going to read those same 7 verses in the English.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 2, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Even these are my feasts. I just wanted to show the importance of this because a lot of times people say that we're keeping the law of Moses by keeping these feast days, keeping the dietary law. That was Moses' law. But the scriptures say that this is the feast of the Lord, right? There are 7 high holy days, which through the span of this class or this high holy day today, we're going to break it down. You're going to get all 7 of those feasts that you have to observe. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And these are not Moses' feasts. These are not the ISUPK's feast. This is not Commander Johanna's feast. This is the feast of the Lord. And that's what we're going to run down all throughout this chapter. You got it, sir.
Verse 3, 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
And what?
In all your dwellings.
Another thing that we come across a lot is you'll have people that say that we shouldn't be keeping these feast days outside of the land. But the scriptures say that we have to keep these feast days in all of our dwellings. That's why we kept the Passover last week in Raleigh, North Carolina. The year before, we did it in Florida. The year before that, we did it in Houston. You understand? It don't matter where you are on this earth, you have to keep these feast days. And the one that we're talking about right here in this verse is the Sabbath day. All right? A lot of Christians, a lot of people will say that you don't have to keep the Sabbath because of Christ, but the scriptures say that we have to keep the Sabbath day in all of our dwellings. That's every 7th day, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. You got to keep that Sabbath day. Keep going.
Verse 4, these are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Another thing I always touch on here, one, these are holy convocations, meaning you can't just be a computer geek sitting at the crib drinking wine and eating some lamb. You understand? Holy convocation means it's a holy gathering. You have to gather with your brothers and sisters in order for you to actually be effectively keeping the feast days. Right. If you kept Passover in your living room, other than reasons why maybe you was unclean or something like that, that's a different story. But if you just felt like you wanted to be an internet geek and an internet preacher, you understand, and an internet Israelite, you know, you want to do it that way. That's not the way the Passover has to be kept. Everybody comes together for these holy convocations. They're holy gatherings. The other part to that is it says we shall proclaim these things in their seasons. We have to know when to keep these things. You have to understand when to keep the Passover. You can't keep the Passover this weekend because we did it last weekend because that was the one Passover. You understand? That's why we always talk about the fact that we got to be on one accord because the Most High tells us that we have to keep these feast days in their seasons, meaning at their appointed time. If I'm keeping Passover April 1st, but you keeping Passover April 3rd, we're not on one accord. And one of us is wrong, right? That's what's important about this scripture. Baba Kashah, keep going.
Verse 5, in the 14th day of the first month, even at even is the Lord's Passover.
Mm-hmm. And that's the Passover that we just said. Let's get out of hand again. Salaki. You understand? We got to make sure that we stay in that same spirit, the same spirit that we had at that Passover, all of that zeal, you understand, and all of those things. You have to stay in that same spirit throughout the year. All right. And that was April 1st. All right. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall ye shall do no servile work therein.
Right. So that's the first 7 verses. We just touched a little bit on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? We did the opening. There's an opening and a closing to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We did our opening last Sunday night out there in Raleigh, North Carolina. All right. And then now we're doing today our closing for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So we'll read about that in just a second. But before we do that, we got to read it in Hebrew. So verses 8 through 14, we're going to read in the Hebrew.
Verse 8. Waha Kwaraba Thamasha La Yahweh Shabai Yamawam Bayawam Hashabai Bakora'a Kwadash Kal Mala'a Kathibada La'a Ta'aishawa. Verse 9. Wayadabar Yahweh Al Mashal La Amar. Are we in
Leviticus 23?
Leviticus 23.
Leviticus 23, yeah.
And verse 8.
We're at verse 8 right now.
Actually, verse 10. We have verse 10 right now, sis. Verse 10. The bar al banaya yashar Allah wa amarath Allahumka ya taba'awa Allah arataza ashar anaya nathan lakam wada tazarathum hath imar ra'ashayath kwataza yarakam al hakahun. Verse 11. Wahanayab ath haimar la panaya ahawa la aratazanakam mama karath hashabath yana yapana hakahan. Verse 12. Wa aisha yathum by your wom hana yapakam atha hamarkabash tamayam bun shanathan la ayla la Yahweh. Verse 13. Wamanakathawa Shanaya Aisharanayam Salah Balawala Bahashuk Bashaman Asha La Yahweh Wayak Nayakak Wanasaka Yayan Rabba Ya'if. Verse 14. Walakam Wakolaya Wakaramal La'a Ta'akalawa Id Itazum Hayawam Haza I Habaya Akum. Now in the English, Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 8 through 14. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the seventh day is in holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
And that's what today is, right? Today is the 7th day. Now, for these 7 days, we've been eating unleavened bread every day, and we've made sure that we don't eat any leaven at all. At the end of this, Sabbath service today, I'm gonna go through some scriptures because there's a spiritual sense to what this is talking about. There's a spirit to every high holy day. There's a spirit behind the Passover. There's a spirit behind the Day of Atonement. There's a spirit behind the Feast of Unleavened Bread. There's a spirit behind all of these high holy days, and we'll get the spirit behind the Feast of Unleavened Bread. But today is the 7th day. That's why we're here gathered today together. You understand? Because this is the 7th day that the Most High is talking about, right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 10, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priests. Mm-hmm. Verse 11, and he shall wave the shear before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
And this, if I could, this Feast of First Fruits, that's what this is talking about, the Feast of First Fruits. If we notice that when the first thing that the Most High brought out with that feast, that specific feast, he said, when you come into the land that I've given you. You understand? When we got into the land of Israel, the first thing that we had to do was get the goodliest of everything and offer it to the Most High, because the Most High is the reason why we had that land. You understand? And so we had to get whatever the first fruits of everything, the best lamb, the fat of everything that you could find, and especially anything that you could profit off of, anything that you could get an increase from, right? You had to give to the Most High through his priests. You understand? And they will waive that sheaf offering, right? Keep going.
Verse 12. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm. And just if I could, just real quick, because I do want to get through this so we could break down this Feast of Unleavened Bread. But of course, we see also that the Most High is requiring a lamb without blemish, meaning we're talking about a lamb that could get you a lot of money. You understand? Something that you could sell to these other nations or sell amongst each other and get damn near rich off of. But the Lord is saying, no, you don't get to make no money off of it because I'm the reason you're in this land in the first place and able to benefit from it. So you're going to offer that to the Most High. You're going to give it to the priest and they're going to sacrifice that lamb, right? Keep going.
Verse 13.
Sluggy.
What you're saying is heavy because, like, you know, us especially as black people, you know what I'm saying, as soon as we get a good job or something like that,
right?
You know what I'm saying, we say, thank the Most High, got me a good job, right. Things like that. All right, where's your tithes money then?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, where is the, you know what I'm saying, where is his cut? You know what I'm saying? If he got you that job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what this thing is, it's calling for a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, to, you know what I'm saying, to keep these blessings, you know what I'm saying, too as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If the Lord got you that job, if the Lord got you that land, you know what I'm saying, what is you going to give him? Nothing.
Right.
That's selfish.
Right.
It's no sacrifice. So that was heavy that you remember that.
Right. And it's heavy too because it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice? Cain sacrificed. You understand? Right? But his sacrifice couldn't hold up to Abel's sacrifice. So are you going to sacrifice the land, the lamb without blemish, or are you going to sacrifice the lamb? You know, he ain't got no meat on his bones. His coat ain't that good, so you can't sell him for his fur or whatever they call it, his coat, whatever you want to call it. Right. And you can't sell him for his meat because he ain't got no meat on his bone. That's easy to sacrifice to the Most High, but this lamb that is fat and ready to be eaten and all of the skin can be taken off of it to build garments, you're going to sacrifice that one to the Lord. So that's definitely, it's a heavy, you know, like that's the spirit. That's like I said, all of these high holy days have a spirit behind them, right? Keep going.
Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2. Verse 13 again. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, and the 4th part of an hin. Verse 14. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
Right, and it says a statute forever throughout all your generations and all of your dwellings. This is not something that you can only do in Israel. You can do this if you're in captivity in Babylon. You can do this in your captivity in America, Mexico, wherever you are. You have to keep these feast days. You understand? Forgive me. Right? So you have to understand that when somebody tries to come up against the school and say, oh, y'all keeping the Passover outside the land, y'all wicked for that, you got to read them this scripture and show them that, no, the Lord never intended for us to stop. The Lord said that if my people will turn back to my laws, statutes, and commandments, I'll hear them and I'll bring them back into my land. How are you going to do that without keeping this law, statute, and commandment? The feast days. You understand? You don't come into the truth and not keep the feast days and not keep the law. You come into the truth and you say, damn, I've been celebrating Easter all my life. Now I'm going to celebrate the Passover. You understand? If I could. So look, that like flatbread right there, there's that beef that we got, that red chili beef. That's kind of how that's supposed to work. You damn near like a tostada kind of. But I couldn't put no baking soda in it, so you got to check that bread out, see if you like it. I couldn't put no baking soda in it because it was still the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
It's nighttime night.
It's nighttime now,
it's
but
11.
It's 11 time. Yeah. Let's bring the So go ahead, you got it.
Hey, if I could, man, and I'll tell you something else. Like fake Israelites, Christians know nothing about sacrifice, and that's why they don't want you to celebrate Passover. Don't want you to celebrate any of the Lord's high holy days. They'll give you an excuse like a Christian would. You're celebrating Passover. You're not even in the Holy Land. Right. So the Lord obviously said He's going to eject you. He's going to kick you out.
Right.
Does that mean you're not going to celebrate it anymore to try to get back in?
Right.
You're not going to try to prove yourself to be better? It's just crazy because sacrifice is how you show a father that you're trying to do better.
Right.
If you're in trouble, if you're not getting good grades, your dad puts you on punishment. You know what? He's going to force you into a situation. He's gonna make you can't eat this now.
Right.
You can't do this. You can't go play with your friends like you want to. So now you got to do you got to move how I want you to move. And if you want to be a good son, you'll do what he tell you to do for however long you need him to.
Right.
And then eventually you'll get back in his good graces. But nobody except the ISUBK understands that.
Right.
Damn
right. Get out of hand. All right. So now we're going to read the next 7 verses 15 through 21 in the Hebrew.
Leviticus 23 and verse 15 in the ancient Hebrew. Wasapatham lakam mama kara tashabath mayawam habaya akam ath imar hathanawapa shabai shabathwath Thamayamath, Thahayayana, verse 16. I, Mama Karath, Hashabath, Hashabayai, Thasaparawa, Kamashayam, Yawam, Wahakorabatham, Manakah, Kadashah, La Yahweh, verse 17. Mama was Shabbath Ayakam, Tabaya Awa, Lakam, Tanawapa, Shathayam, Shanya, Aishar, Nayam, Salah, Tahaya, Yana, Kamataza, Ta'apayana, Bakawaryam, La Yahweh, verse 18. Wahakarabatham al halakwam shabai kabashayam tamayamam banaya shana waparaban bakwar akad wa'ayalam shanyam yahayawa ilah la Yahweh wamanakatham Wanasakath Yahum Asha what Rayak Nayakak La Hawa, verse 19. Wa Aisha Yathum Sha'ayar Isayam Akad Lakatahath Wayashanuya Washanya Kabashayam Banaya Shanan Lazabak Shalamayim, verse 20. Wakanayap Hakahan Atham Al Lakam Habakawarayim Thanawapa Lapanaya Yahweh Al Shanya Kabashayam Kwadash Yahayawa La Yahweh La Kahan, verse 21. Wakora'atham Ba'itazam Hayawam Hazaha Makora'a Kwadash Yahaya Lakam Kal Malakath Ibada La'a Tha'aishawa Kakwath Iwalam Bakal Mawashabatha Yakam Ladarath Yakam. Now in the English, Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 15 through 21, verse 15 in the English, and ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Verse 16, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Verse 17.
And if I could, real quick, so that's once again, this is talking about the Feast of First Fruits. It's also referred to, you can find it referred to as the Pentecost. We just call it the Feast of First Fruits. But that's what, when you go into Acts chapter 2, when they were speaking in tongues and things like that, that was the Pentecost. That was the Feast of First Fruits. That's the feast that just goes to show they was keeping that Feast of First Fruits all the way back, you understand, in the book of Acts, you understand, under Roman rule. You understand, which once again shows you
after Christ died.
After Christ died, which shows you once again that these feasts are to be kept perpetually, just like the scriptures say. I'm too hard. They're to be kept perpetually. You understand? So once again, you'll find it being called Pentecost, Feast of First Fruits. This is the next feast day that we'll have. So tonight, we're not having another feast day until Feast of First Fruits. All right.
Verse 17. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tenth deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord. Verse 18. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offering, even an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord.
Keep going.
Verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings.
That's a whole lot of money, a whole lot of offerings, a whole lot of sacrifices. The Lord requires things of us. And it's important for us to, every time we have a high holy day, it's important for us to remember these things. It's important to remember every day. But when we go through and read all that the Most High requires for us throughout the year, or from us, throughout the year, I mean, it's pretty evident that the Lord doesn't want you just sitting on your tail at the crib. He wants you out doing the work and making sacrifices. You understand?
You know what struck out to me? You said a whole lot of money. Everybody afraid to spend money for a flight,
right?
For a passport, for
right.
a hotel.
Right.
The Lord was making you spend the money today, yesterday, and forever.
Right.
Go spend the bread to do what He told you to do, man. It don't make no sense. It's a lot.
Not to mention, we're not even asking y'all to sacrifice thousands of dollars worth of lambs and goats and kids.
Saying, right.
all you got to do is pay your Passover fee. And the same way that they had to go, you understand that there was a central location. It's always been a central location for Passover. That means that people that were scattered and living in different places across whatever country or whatever the case had to make a voyage to the Passover. You understand?
You know what's so key, and you know how that I know that Commander Gene Hunter is the best leader possible, you know, on earth. You know what I'm saying? Because even though he say you got to pay for the Passover fee, right? You know what I'm saying, if you don't got it, you still can come.
Right.
Like, you can lie about it. You can lie and say you don't got it. You can do all that. It ain't no secure way to know that anybody paid.
You can
but
say
the Lord.
You don't got it. He gonna let you in.
He gonna let you in.
Real talk.
But here's the thing: people think that it's something wrong against paying for the Passover when you had to do it anyway.
Right.
Because how you gonna get the blood on your door?
Right.
And how are you going to feed your family in that household and let the angels pass over you? You had to have that lamb. You had to have that blood.
You got to buy a lamb from
so you want to borrow my blood?
That's brotherhood.
That's brotherhood. But look. All I'm saying is, what if it ain't enough to do that for everybody? So everybody has to sacrifice and get their lamb.
Right.
Get their own lamb.
Right. And if I could, just something that's so heavy about that too, like we talking about this lamb that's unblemished. We of course believe in Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who the world calls Christ, or Jesus Christ. He was that ultimate sacrifice. That's literally why we don't have to bring $1 million worth of lambs and kids and goats and all type of things, because Christ paid that price for us. All you got to do is get there, man. Be around your brothers and sisters. That's the Lord. Like, when Christ was on the scene, the biggest thing that he stressed out of everything was brotherhood. And you cannot nourish brotherhood without being amongst each other. Sure, we could call each other on the phone. They had phones back then. So sure, we could call each other on the phone, be on FaceTime, whatever the case. text back and forth, all of those things. But being around your brothers is something about that Christ desired for us. And so we have to keep that same spirit. You understand? So once again, whatever sacrifice that you got to make to get around your brothers and sisters and serve the Lord, most importantly, you got to make the sacrifice. We're not even being, required of that much. Like you were saying, look, we have the Passover fee, and this is not for anybody to just be like, oh, well, next year I'm not paying that Passover fee. But our leader is he takes after Christ, so he's merciful. So he understands, these cats probably late on their rent or whatever the case, because they've been prepping, they got to get their stuff together, flights, they made it all the way out here. What, are you going to stop you from coming in? Imagine if we had a leader that was like, oh, he ain't got the $200 Passover fee.
We got the receipt.
Right, you ain't got it, yeah.
Where the receipt?
Right, and that's the thing. Once again, like you said, somebody could lie because we don't check people's pockets and run and, okay, hold on, let me look you up in the database, see if you really paid it. We don't do that.
Right.
Because we work off of an honor system in here because our leader is honorable. We're going to expect you to be honorable. If you ain't got it, our leader is not going to tell you, hey, man, listen, I know you can't. You flew all the way out from Los Angeles, from Phoenix, from Las Vegas, all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina. You ain't got your Passover fee? Damn, you get away from me. We don't have a leader like that. We have a merciful leader. So once again, we should just always remember that the Lord has always required sacrifices for us. Now we don't have to sacrifice these lambs and do these types of things no more. But we sacrifice in other areas. You understand?
All right, verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priests. Verse 21, and ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations.
Right. And that's it on that. We just understand, we keep seeing that same thing over and over again. The Lord stressed it out. He stressed it that you have to make sure that you do these things forever. There's no stopping. Don't let anybody beguile you into thinking you ain't got to keep the law and keep these feast days. Right, no excuses. You understand? No cowards. Keep Passover, keep first fruits, whatever feast we got, come and keep it. Keep the Day of Atonement. But we don't eat. Keep all of it because the Lord requires it of us.
Right.
All right. So now we're going to read the next 7 verses, verses 22 through 28.
Leviticus chapter 22 through verse 28 in the ancient Hebrew. Wabakwa tazarakam ath kwatazayar aratazakam la'ah takala pa'ath shadak bakwatazarak walakwath kwatazaak kwatazaarak la kwatazaarak kwatazaarak la'ath alakwat la'ainaya ilagar ta'izab atham anaya Yahweh Allahayakam sa. Verse 23. Waya dabar Yahweh al masha la amar. Verse 24. Dabar al banaya yasha'ala la amar bakadash hashabaya ba'akad la kadash yayahan lakam shabathawam zakarwan tharawai makora'a kwadash. 25. Kal mala'akat abada la'atha aishawa wahakorabatham asha lahayawasa. 26. Wayadabar Yahweh al masha la'amar. Verse 27. Ak ba'aishawar la'chadash hashabayai haza'a yawam hakaparyam hawa'a makora'a Kwadash Yaha Kwadash Yahaya Lakam wa Aina Yatham Ath Napasha Thayakam Wahakora Batham La Yahawa'a. Verse 28. Wakal Mala'aka La'atha Ta'aishawa Ba'itazam Hayawam Hazaha Kaya Yawam Kaparayam Hawa'a Lakapar Alayakam Lapanaya Yahweh Alahayakam. 28, right? Leviticus chapter 23, verse 21 through 28. 22. Verse 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God.
Another thing that you find in this chapter, brotherhood is not new. It's not something that Christ introduced. He just stressed it a lot. But this is brotherhood. You understand? It said when you reap the harvest of your land, because remember, this all is talking about when we finally come. We wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. When we finally come into our land, we're going to have riches. We're going to be the ones that's on top. Like I'm talking past tense. Like this is when we was coming into our land initially. You understand? We're going to have these riches. You understand? We're going to be the ones that's on top. We'll be the authority. We charge people tariffs. They don't charge us nothing. You understand? Well, when you reap the harvest of your land, because this is good, it was good, fertile land. It was something that you can make a lot of money off of, which is what is necessary. Scripture said money is a defense. You understand? It says, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. Neither shall I gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Meaning, you can't. Gleaning means, let's say you got an apple tree. You understand? If an apple falls off of that tree by itself, meaning you didn't pick that apple, it just falls off by itself, that's the gleaning. Don't go and pick that up. The scriptures say do what? Leave it to the stranger, to the poor. Because there's going to be somebody among you that's poor, that doesn't have enough money for food, that doesn't have the means for food. You understand? You're going to leave that for him. That way, really, nobody's ever poor. Because even the stranger, meaning the stranger is talking about a brother that might be from a different city. Because Jerusalem or Israel is actually a large plot of land. It's the entire Middle East. It's not what you see like on the maps today. You understand? So they might be coming from somewhere all the way across that the other side of Israel. And they might not have nowhere to stay. They might not have no food. You're going to leave that gleaning, that apple that falls from the tree by itself, you're going to leave it so that way a stranger can come and pick it up. That's the type of brotherhood that the Most High wanted to instill in the children of Israel. You understand? And that's part of the spirit of keeping these feast days. Like there's so much more than just, we got to serve God and be, bow our heads down. No, like the Lord is looking out for us too. He's making sure that there don't never have to be nobody outside this school across the street smoking fentanyl. Nobody has to be begging when you go across the I-17 here and you pull up at these little stops and they got the homeless people outside begging. The Lord is trying to make sure that never happens in his kingdom, because the scriptures say that when the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice. But because the wicked are in rulership, the people are in mourning. So that's why you have all of these poor people, these homeless people. Arizona has an extremely terrible homeless problem. We all know that because we go and pass out food down there every week at the what they call that? What they call that place? They got a name for it. Huh?
But I know it's downtown.
Yeah, it's downtown. They got a name for it. It's called it's damn near like that.
So
but
it's like a 10 city.
Yeah, but it's like damn near like a Skid Row. But they got a name for it for Phoenix. But point being is we go out and have to fix these people that America has destroyed. The Most High was trying to set up, and this is what's so terrible about us is we forsook it, because the Most High was trying to set up a righteous kingdom to where nobody has to be sleeping on the tent. Right. If we step outside of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, we can find that the scriptures say that if you have a stranger, meaning it's a brother that might be from across town that don't have nowhere to stay, you got to let that brother stay with you. Like, that's the solution for all of these things. But the problem is that we stepped away from the Most High and wanted to live like Americans. Well, back in the day, we wanted to live like the Canaanites. We wanted to live like the Babylonians. We wanted to live like the Romans. You understand? That's what I'm saying. That's what the Lord is. He knew this was going to happen. That's why he set this thing up like this, because we're going to look back on this right now in captivity and be like, damn, look what we could have had. We could have had this. I don't know how many brothers and sisters have been homeless or been without a place to stay or without food. They tummy is rumbling. You don't ever have to be like that as long as you stay with the Most High.
Right.
Like, the Lord will make sure that there are laws in place that you are fed no matter what. Right. I don't know how many brothers and sisters grew up and had, the only time they ate was at lunch at school, and they came home, didn't have no dinner. They had sleep for dinner. That would never go in the Most High's kingdom.
It's like it. I was just talking about this too. There's no such thing as a beggar in the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
And that's not because of magic. That's because of order and laws.
Right.
Nobody has to beg because we have a system in place that nobody goes without.
Right.
Nobody goes without. You don't have that in America, and that's on purpose.
Right.
That's on purpose. You know what I'm saying? This place is for gain. It's not for giving.
Right.
It's winner takes all. Loser goes home starving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the God they serve.
Right.
Now, who are you picking? Black, Hispanic man, Native American, Indian man? Like you're gonna have to choose at the end of the day what God you really serve. The one you read about in the Bible, or the one you're told about in church.
Right. Yeah, I'm right. That's it. You got it, sir. Go. Verse like verse 23.
It said verse 23.
Count,
Verse 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of trumpet, and an holy convocation. Verse 25, ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
That's the memorial of the blowing of the trumpet. So after we have our feast of first fruits, a couple months down the line after that, we're gonna have another feast. As you know, we have a feast like season. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere between
that
say
month is rough.
Yeah, anywhere between like September all the way down to Passover, you jammed up. You understand? So, but it's a glorious thing, of course. It's just a lot of preparation that's involved, which, of course, the Lord, once again, He requires that sacrifice of you. Where are you at on these feasts? Are you coming to the feast, or are you going to be tired of the feast because you've had so many back to back?
Right.
You know? Right. That's what I'm saying. And of course, a lot of times, lucky you not living 5,000 years ago, because you was definitely going to have to pay some money.
If you didn't come see us, we was going to come see you.
right. Yeah, I'm right. All right, you got to say.
Verse 26, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 28, and ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
And directly after that, which usually falls in like a September or in October, usually like September, that's the Day of Atonement, which is the only feast day that is not a feast. It's the only high holy day that's not a feast. You're not eating nothing at all. Right? Everybody that's able-bodied, meaning we're talking about adults who are not pregnant or have medicine to take, you understand, you don't eat or drink. You don't do anything for 24 hours.
Right.
All right. And that once again, you start to notice a pattern. Everything requires sacrifice with the Most High, because the Lord is not somebody who gives a damn about your lip service and how much you say you love Him. He cares about what you are doing to prove your love to the Most High. Love is an action. Most women would agree with that. Most women have said that before.
You haven't taken me out lately.
Right, exactly. Like, you understand? So now we have to do this. We have to understand the same thing with the Most High. The Most High understands that love is an action, hate is an action. So we have to understand that the Most High requires some sort of sacrifice, some sort of proof. You say you love me, but do you really?
Right.
Same thing. I'll go right back to what I said earlier. Cain and Abel. Cain said he loved the Most High. He wasn't willing to offer what Abel was willing to offer. And so when he got called out on it, he got pissed off and killed his brother, which is proof he never loved the Most High. So, and this is also something that brothers and sisters should always realize about everybody that's around you. You should always be able to check the spirit and see who really loves God. Them works is what's going to show you if they love God. I'm just going to tell y'all that. It's plain and simple. You understand? Especially when you get to telling your family members about the truth and they say, oh, yeah, it kind of sounds cool. They never going to come to class. You know they don't love God. Everybody, listen, I saw this. I know we got to move through this. I saw this sister today on Facebook. She commented on one of the brothers' posts that was about Easter. And she was like, well, you know, you're supposed to didn't Christ say, do this in remembrance of me? She didn't know what the hell she was talking about, because it definitely wasn't talking about no goddamn Easter, right? But which really it was talking about the Passover.
Right.
It was talking about, he said, drink this wine, this is my blood, eat this bread, this is my flesh. So he was really talking about the Passover. Right. She don't know what she's talking about. And then she gonna say, well, I only do it because of the kids. So I know Easter is this, that, and the third, but I only do it because of the kids. When you start to do things because of the kids, you're gonna start celebrating Nimrod, which is Christmas. You're gonna start celebrating that Halloween, which is of the Jesuits and of that goddamn devil.
Right.
You understand? You're gonna start to do everything for the kids, and now you're just all the way in the world because you live for kids. You live for children. You don't live to serve the Most High. You live for children.
Right.
Children tell you, "I want to celebrate Christmas. I want to celebrate Halloween. I want to celebrate Easter." So now it's for the kids. I still love God though. No, you don't.
Right.
If I could, no child has ever come to her and said, "I want to celebrate Easter."
Right.
She's putting that on those children.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing it for the kids, not because the kids want it,
Right.
but she's doing it to brainwash the kids like she was brainwashed.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like the whole "I'm doing it for the kids." The kids don't ask for Christmas.
Right.
Kids don't ask for Christmas. Kids don't ask for birthdays either. I remember being a child. I never asked for. I was talking to her about Easter. I was like, I asked my mother. I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to hunt these boiled eggs
Right.
that I painted.
Right.
Right. Okay, I'm doing that. All right. So why am I doing this? Well, my mother said, well, because when you find them, you get a reward. I was like, what's the reward? Well, you could eat the egg you found. I don't even like boiled eggs.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
she was like, well, do it anyway. Well,
Right.
is it for me now?
Right.
Is it even for me as a child? It's not for me. It's not for the children. It's because you were taught that.
Right.
You were taught that, and you don't want to change. You don't want to do what God really said. You're selfish. You want to do what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
No,
that's what it really is.
And that's true because when I came into the truth, ask that little girl back there. She's 4 years old. She's never celebrated a birthday. She's but she's happy. She's back there chilling right now. The feast day. You understand? She never celebrated a Christmas. Them boys right there. Damn right. Look, them boys right there. They ain't celebrated Christmas in damn near 6, 7 years, 8 years, something crazy like that. Damn near almost never. You understand? A birthday in 4 or 5 years. They not crying for presents. They're not sad because they don't have to celebrate. I mean, they don't get to celebrate a birthday. Y'all miss celebrating birthdays? Y'all miss Christmas? That's what I'm talking about. You see how he looked at me like, why the hell would you even ask me that?
Them boys got more games than me.
You understand? So what I'm saying is that what you said is heavy because kids don't need those things. When a parent or some adult says that they do it just for the kids, they really just doing it because they're still that child that celebrated Christmas.
Damn.
They still want to celebrate Christmas. Them kids, I took Christmas away from them and they didn't care. I took birthdays away from them. They didn't care. It's all right, well,
I don't even know I barely know what Christmas is.
You understand? Kids don't care, but it's the adult that cares because you're still that same child that woke up and ran to your mama's door and was like, Mom, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, but it's Christmas. Wake up. I want to get the gifts to Sunday. Right.
Did he eat the cookies?
Right.
We stayed up all night.
That's what I'm saying. So that's all it is, man. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You gotta let that thing go and you gotta hold on to your culture. You gotta come join to this culture because this is what's gonna keep you safe from America's plagues. America, the scriptures say in the book of Revelation 18 chapter, America is going to be plagued.
Damn right.
And if you want to join to America, you're going to be plagued just like America is going to be plagued.
Damn right.
The Lord is not going to see a black and Hispanic when he sees you still here. Because everybody that was a true Israelite that followed the customs and did what they were supposed to do, they'll be beamed up on the chariots. The Lord is going to look at you like a goddamn Edomite if you get stuck down here because you wanted to celebrate Christmas for the kids. You understand? All right. Slaki, so you have anything?
Nah, that brother touched everything.
Come on, sir.
Brother's covered it all.
All right, you got it, sir. I think we was at
verse 28.
Yeah, 28.
Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of. Oh wait, I already read that. Verse 29. For whatsoever.
I think that's it. I think we got to read 29 to 35 now.
29 to 35.
Come on, sir.
All right. Now in Leviticus 23, verse 29 through 35 in the ancient Hebrew, Kayakol, Hanapash, Ashar La'ah, Ta'ina, by Tazam, Hayamam, Hazaha, Wanakaratha, Ma'aimaya. Verse 30. Wakal Hanapash, Ashar Ta'aisha, Kal, Mala'aka, by Tazam, Hayawam, Haza'ah, Waha Abad, Dathia, Ah, Hanapash, Hawa'a, Makwapa Ima. Verse 31. Kal Mala'aka, La'atha Aisha, Kakwath, Iwalam, Ladarathyakum, Bakal, Mashabathyakum. Verse 32. Shabbathawam, Shabbathawan, Hawa'ala Kum, Wa'inayathum, Ath, Napash Thayakum, Batha Sha'aiha, Lakadash, Ma'irub, I'd Thashmabath, Thashambath, Washabath Pa. Verse 33. Wayadabar Yahweh, Al Mashan La Amar. Verse 34. Dabar Al Banaya Yasher Allah, La Amar Bakamasha, Ashara Yawam, Lakadash, Hashabaya, Hazaha, Kaga, Hasakawath, Shabai, Yamawam, La Yahweh. Verse 35. Bayawam, Hara Ashawan, Makora'a, Kwadash, Kal, Mala'akath, Ibada, Al, Ta'ishawa. Now in the English, the book of Numbers, chapter 23, verse 29 through 35. Verse 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 30. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
If I could, Salaki, just another thing about the Feast of Salaki, the Day of Atonement. The scripture just said we should celebrate the Day of Atonement. I just want y'all to understand that. That's not a day that we eat. Like, you have to celebrate your service to the Most High, even if it doesn't feel good. Like, that's the way the Lord wants you to operate. I don't want to take too much time on it, but I just want y'all to understand that that's how serious the Lord is. It seems ridiculous. You have to afflict your soul and celebrate at the same time. What sense does that make? You understand? But that's the way the Most High operates, because he needs you to understand that for good things to happen to you, you have to sacrifice, because we don't do this for no reason. We do this so that way the Most High can bless us. We do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, and I'm too out too. I appreciate it. We do this because the Most High has something planned for us, and we'll talk about it in just a second. I just want y'all to understand how ridiculous it sounds. Like, scriptures say that we fools for Christ's sake. You understand? Right. Because there's gonna come a time in September at some day. I don't know. I don't have the calendar in front of me, where we're going to have to suffer and be hungry for 24 hours, be thirsty for 24 hours, and we're gonna have to celebrate together. That's like if listen, that's Black and Hispanic culture, because don't we celebrate with each other when we hungry and suffering anyway?
Right.
That's how you know this Bible is about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because we do it right now. We live the same thing that we've been living for 4,000 or 5,000 years. We do it right now. It's a lot.
Verse. Oh yeah, and also too, when you do the Day of Atonement, you don't when the Day of Atonement comes, you don't want to be sad because because you can't eat, because you can't drink water, so you walk around sad. You might feel tired because you haven't ate. You don't want to feel sad about it. You understand? You want to get up like a regular day. If you go to work, go to work. You know, put on your makeup. If you're a brother, you know, you put on your cologne. You it's like a regular day. You know, especially on that day. If you don't do those things, you should definitely wear something nice. You know, kind of feel good about yourself. All right, because you need to understand the reason why you're suffering. You're suffering for the sins that you did before. So you don't have to die for your sins, because of course Christ gave his life for us. Right. But the least we can do is suffer for a day for the sins that we did do.
That's right.
You know
oh, so like you said, to both of your points excellently. Like, it's it's like a lesson as well too. Like Blacks, Hispanics, they always say, like, if it gets hot, That's when blacks, brothers want to kill each other, XYZ, the summer heat, that's why they did it, or when he's hungry, that's why he was acting that way. That's why he was behaving that way. But God commands it that you go an entire day without eating anything at all,
Right.
and then you control yourself.
Damn right.
And you make sure you're happy. You make sure you act regular, so that and with your brother, you know what I'm saying, to test yourself, to prove yourself worthy of being able to be forgiven for whatever you may have done wrong, or whatever the case might be. So that's all I got.
Real quick, it also helps you fight your temptation. You understand? Because you can't eat food, which is a natural thing that you do. It's a natural thing that it's a natural part of you that you want to do. You naturally want to drink water. You understand? So throughout the day, you might forget. You're gonna walk to your fridge and walk back to your bed. You're gonna walk to your fridge and like, oh, I can't eat. You're gonna go. You're gonna go fill up a cup of water. Oh, I can't drink water.
Right.
So isn't it put you in a state of mind where you're not in on a daily basis, because you're denying. If you're able to deny food and water, then surely you'll be able to deny temptation, which is pork, which is shrimp, which is you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Carter. You'll be able to deny temptation, which is not as, which your body doesn't need as much as food and water. You understand? Go ahead, sir.
What about brushing your teeth?
Yeah, you can brush your teeth, just don't swallow the water. You know, sometimes. Yeah, just don't swallow the water. You can gargle, just don't swallow the water and like that. You understand? Once you spit it out, it might feel like there's water, but it's just on saliva. I spit that out too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the point,
right?
But the point is, like, you want to, you still definitely want to brush your teeth. You don't want people to know you fasting. You want it to be like every other day, and just nobody's even gonna notice that you haven't drunk any water. Nobody's gonna notice that you haven't eaten. You know, it's not a big deal. You want everybody to look at you like the same way they look at you throughout the year. Because this fast on Day of Atonement is not a fast for you to look like you're fasting. It's for you to fast for the Most High and to afflict your soul for the Most High, because you really should be dead. Me and you and everybody in this room should be dead because of the things that we've done. We've all done something worthy of a death punishment. All of us. I know it. I know it for a fact, except maybe that little girl right there. I don't know. She cried all day, but I don't know if she deserves death yet. I don't know.
I think all three of them probably good.
Right, all three of them probably good. But for the rest of us, we fast, and they don't fast, of course, on the Day of Atonement. No children fast, right? But for the rest of us that do have to fast on the Day of Atonement, we all deserve death. The least we could do is just sacrifice some food for a day. God damn.
Right.
Sluggy, so you say something?
Precept?
Oh, Sluggy?
You want the precept?
For what?
For like for fasting?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, concept. Yeah.
Matthew 6:16. Moreover, says, moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
See, so their reward is people looking at them and glorifying them. Oh, look, he's fasting. He's so holy. He's fasting for the Lord. Their reward is what? Being praised by men, by people. You understand? That's what Christ is saying. Don't be like the hypocrites. They're fasting not unto the Lord. They're fasting to get people's attention and to be praised by people. Keep going.
Okay. But thou, when thou fast, anoint thy head.
See, when you fast, anoint yourself and do what else?
And wash thy face.
And wash your face. Don't be depressed. You know, people who are depressed suffer from lack of hygiene. You know, they don't brush their teeth. They don't take care of themselves. You understand? Christ says, don't be like that. Don't be all sad and you wake up. You leave the eye boogers in your eyes because you know you're not gonna go eat. You know you're not gonna go out and drink. No, get up, take a shower, brush your teeth. You know, clean up. Keep going.
That thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret.
Because if you stay bummy, people are gonna know you're. Because if you look like you're fasting, it's not good. You know, you're doing it for attention. Most of the time they're doing it for attention, right? The point is look good look fresh. You understand? Brush your teeth, all that, and don't fast for people, but you know you're fasting for the Most High. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You going?
Come. But unto like, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly.
Keep going.
Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal.
You understand? You want to fast into the Lord, because then the Lord is going to reward you. You're going to have a reward in heaven,
Right.
not a reward on earth from people. You understand?
Right.
You want to touch on it?
Live, sir. I'm too low.
All right. So what? Where were we?
So Lockie, I believe. Let me see. So
29,
okay, 34.
34. Verse 34. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. Verse 35. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right, so that's those 7 verses. Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to say this once. I'm just going to touch on it for a second. Feast of Tabernacles is going to be in the United Kingdom. All right, so everybody get their passports, everybody get everything together, because the Feast of Tabernacles is going to be a 7-day feast or a 7-day dwelling together, in the United Kingdom. We're going to do it for the first time. I don't know in how long. I mean, it might be the first time ever, but we all going to be together for the Feast of Tabernacles in the United Kingdom. So get your passports together. If you need help getting your passport, you understand, contact your camp leader, but that's where it's at. Everybody going to come together, Feast of Tabernacles, United Kingdom, all the way out there. Get out of hand. It's like,
This shit gonna be
Okay.
fly.
it's gonna be crazy. And it's going to be at the King James Castle.
Right.
The King James Castle.
I'm on
Right.
Instagram the whole time.
That's crazy. All right, so let's keep reading, because I want to bring some precepts out for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, so I want to kind of move through this
My
just a
Lord.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
right.
you like another
Right.
Every sister better be saying, I don't want to.
Right, they better be saying, I don't
I'm
want,
not even saying
my
I don't
Lord,
want to.
you understand?
Every rib,
As soon as I
every.
get in the doors, I'm just saying my Lord. And then
Right.
my Lord.
Hey, y'all ever heard some guard talk?
Would you like the feast?
Y'all ever heard some guard talk?
Yeah.
I'm talking like
Very
him.
little, very little.
Yeah, that brother right there, he got the accent, because that's where he's from.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not like you hearing a little pretty old lady talk. It's like he finna tear your head off.
So
Nah, that shit hardcore.
Yeah.
He's from the UK mafia or something.
Yeah, like so he gonna poke you up. They ain't got guns out there,
Yeah.
so he gonna poke you up right quick.
Nah, he don't gotta poke you up. He just gonna poke
I know he's
you
just gonna
out.
rip your head off. He gonna like twisting the can off of twisting the top off a Coke bottle or something.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Come on, it's like
All right. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 35 through, I'm just reading all right.
Console, yeah, you can, yeah.
All right. Through 44. 44. All right. In ancient Hebrew. Bayawam, Hara Shawan, Makora'a, Kwadash, Kal Malakath, Ibada, Al, Tha'ishawa. Verse 36. Shabai, Yamayam, Thakora Yabawa, Asha, La Yahawa, Bayawam, Hashamayanya, Makora'a, Kwadash, Yahayal, Lakam, Waha Kwarabatham, Asha'a, Asha, La Yahawath, Itazarath, Hawa'a, Kal, Malakath, Ibada, La'ah, the Aishawa. Verse 37. Allah, Mawa Ibadaya, Yahweh, Ashar, Takora'a, Atham, Makora'aya, Kwadash, Lahakwa Rayab, Asha, La Yahweh, Ilah, Wamanaka, Zabak, one on the Sakayam, the Bar Yawam, Bayawamwa. Verse 38. Malabad, Shabbatha, Yahweh, Wamalabad, Mathanawath Yakum, Wamalabad, Kal, Nada Yirakum, Wamalabad, Kal, Nada Bawath Yakum, Ashar, Tathanawa, La Yahweh, Verse 39. Ak Bakamasha Bakamashaha Ishar Yawam Lakadash Hasha Hashabayaya Ba'asapakam Av Tabawa'av Ha'arataza Takagawa Av Kag Yahweh Shabai Yamayam Bayawam Hara Ashawan Tabatham Wabayawam Hashamayan Naya Shabbathwan. Verse 40. Wala kwa katham lakam bayawam hara ashawan paraya itaza hadar kapath tamarayam hainat itaza ibath wa irabaya nakal washamaktham lapanaya Yahweh alahayaka shabai yamayam. Verse 41. Wa kagatham athawa kagal la Yahweh shabai Yamayam, Bashana, Kakwath, Iwalam, Ladarath, Thayakam, Bakadash, Hashabayaya, Takagawa, Athawa. Verse 42. How many verses is it? 44? Basakar, Thabaawa, Shabai, Yamayam, Kau, Ha'azarak, Bayasharala, Yashabawa, Basakar. Verse 43. Lamahaiwan, Yadahaiwan, Darathayakam, Kaya, Basakawath, Hawashabathya Ah, Banaya, Yasha'ala, Bahawataza Yaaya, Awatha, Ma'arataza, Matazarium, Anaya, Yahweh, Allahayakam. Verse 44. Wayadabar Mashah, Ah, Maidaya, Yahweh al Banaya Sha'alapa. Leviticus chapter 23 in the English, verse 35 through 44. On the first day shall be in holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be in holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, a drink offering, everything upon his day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your freewill offerings, which ye give unto the Lord. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Verse 40. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches and palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brooks, and ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall, verse 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Verse 44. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord.
Damn right. Get out of hand. All right, if I get 1 Corinthians real quick, 1 Corinthians the 5th chapter. I just want to leave y'all with this. We about to wrap it up. All right. 1 Corinthians 5, and we're gonna start at verse 6. Once again, I want to get the spirit of why we're keeping this feast. Of course, we're keeping it because the Lord said so. We can just shut up and stop right there. But I do want everybody to understand the spirit behind this feast, and this outline throughout the New Testament, throughout Christ, and of course Paul as well. He kind of outlines the spirit behind this whole unleavened concept that we talk about. We're doing this for 7 days. Let's figure this thing out. So let's get 1 Corinthians 5 and 6.
1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. What is leaven? For time's sake, I got to give it to y'all. It's being puffed up, being cocky, being you think you bigger than what you are. The scriptures say what about us? That all our righteousness is as filthy rags to the Most High. So none of us should be cocky and puffed up and think that we're better than we are. So Paul is checking this church at Corinth. He's saying your glorying is not good. Don't you know that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Now this is a metaphor. It's an analogy because we know, like for instance, them flatbreads that I made, right? I couldn't put no baking soda in them, but if I'd have put just the tiniest bit of baking soda in them to leaven them things, that would have leavened the whole thing, leavened all of that bread. So a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. What is that talking about? It's talking about the fact that you doing that glorying and having that leaven being puffed up, you're going to affect everybody around you. And that can happen. And it's happened many, many times. Keep going. Verse 7.
I could add too.
Sir, of course.
It's also talking about sin and hypocrisy.
Right.
You understand? That's why we got to be tight in whatever camp you're in. Whenever you see something that's out of line, you have to address it.
Right.
You have to check it. You have to talk to that brother, talk to that sister. The brother come and talk to you. You understand? You know, it goes how it goes according to the Bible. You go to counsel or whatnot, but it has to be checked because if not, like the brother just said, like the officer just said, it's gonna go around, and that demon is gonna come in here and start disrupting things.
Right.
God, this place will turn into a whorehouse without this order.
And what's even deeper, like even that little, like even when you making it, right? You know what I'm saying? You got the lumps up in there. You know what I'm saying? Later on, it's gonna mess up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make it perfect before you put that joint in the oven and you make, you know what I'm saying, before it bake. Because you know, if you don't stir it right and get it right, the right consistency, then later on it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna puff up. One part is gonna puff up and it's gonna just make the whole thing look bad.
Like a fucked up cake.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
It's all big, but then that shit shrink in the middle. It falls on itself.
Exactly. Nah, yeah, fact.
But the whole point here is to not have leaven.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
Verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven.
This is what Paul said, and he was very skilled in what he did. He was able to, the same thing that Christ did. I'm not putting Paul at the same level as Christ, but Paul did things the same way Christ did. He spoke in parables. He said, purge out the old leaven. Get rid of that leaven that had you puffed up, right? Keep going.
That ye may be a new lump.
That ye may be a what?
New lump.
A new lump. Keep going.
And ye are as ye are unleavened.
As ye are unleavened. What did Christ say? You have to be born again.
Right.
Paul is saying the same thing that Christ said. They didn't understand it. When Christ said you have to be born again, you know what he said? Nicodemus said? He said, I got to crawl into my mother's womb and come back out again. I don't know what the hell is going on. What is he talking about?
Boy, talking crazy.
Right. You understand? But Paul's doing the same thing. He's giving you another analogy. He's not saying necessarily born again. He's saying you have to purge out that old leaven and become a new lump. You know what that's talking about? The nigga that you used to be, that evil bitch that you used to be, stop being that. Be a new woman. Be new in Christ. You understand? You're not the same woman with that slave name that her mother raised her to be a whore. You're not that same brother that your father raised you to be a pimp and a mac and doing all of these terrible things. You understand? Selling dope and all of whatever the hell y'all used to do in the world. You're not that no more. You're a new lump.
Right.
Meaning you're going to purge out all of the filthiness, all of the hypocrisy, all of that. And you're now going to become a new lump and you're going to be something that's pure. And that's what Paul is telling you to do. The same way Christ told you to be born again. It's like you said.
Yeah. So like I was just going to hop right on exactly what you were saying. Like just like Paul was saying, you got to be as if you were unleavened from the beginning. Like
right.
It's got to be like yeast was never in you at all.
Right.
Like that old yeast, that sin was never in you. That's how you got to be. That's how you got to be going on forward, coming into the spirit of Christ.
Right.
You cannot even affiliate with what, you know, in the sense of like the spirit of what you were doing. I mean,
right.
your family is still your family and things like that, but your body count You never slept with nobody. You're a
Right.
sister. You got a man. You got a man in the truth. You never had sex with anybody but him.
Right.
Your body count is 1.
Damn right.
If you're a sister, you ain't got a man in the truth. Your body count is 0.
Damn right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what that shit is. It's like you don't know what that is anymore. Your mind is not looking backwards. It's looking forward.
Right.
You're trying to go somewhere else.
Right.
You know, it's like
Right. Damn right.
For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
And that's why we get to be new. We
right.
get to be new because Christ sacrificed for us. Because once again, like I said earlier, you know what? Most of the people besides the children are here. Everybody in here besides the children, we deserve death.
That's right.
Most of us have had sex with another man's wife. Most of us have sold drugs to our people. A witch has to be put to death. Selling drugs is witchcraft. You understand? Most of these sisters have been with more than one man in their past. You understand? Which you would literally have to be put to death for. That's also considered adultery. So, point being is, all of us have done something worthy of death. Christ absolved us of all of those sins. Now we have to be the new bread. We can't be the unleavened. We have to purge out the old leaven. Now we have to become that unleavened bread. That's why we keep this feast. This feast is a renewing. That's why Passover is so extreme for us. Unleavened bread is so extreme for us because we have to now become new. And the same thing that Christ taught, the same thing that Paul taught is what we teach today. And that's why we renew ourselves. We renew our covenant with the Most High every year. Don't we have that every year?
Right.
Last year in Florida, we was on the beach. And Commander Joanna said we're renewing our covenant. We do it every year because that's what's necessary, because we have to do the thing that Christ died for us to do. Christ died so we could have a second chance.
Right.
And without Christ dying, we wouldn't have that second chance. So we have to acknowledge it as many times as we can, as often as we can.
And also, I'd like to add, this is how you know that so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans wrote the Bible, because the same way we talk today, which, like, if you listen to our rap songs, we speak in metaphors. You understand? Shalom.
Shalom, sir. Shalom.
We speak like in metaphors. You understand? We say, well, what's the way we speak in metaphors?
Dog,
Crib.
crib,
We call guns sticks.
the whip. I'm hopping in the
I'm
whip.
hopping in the whip.
Right,
I'm going to the crib. You understand? It's the same thing that Paul is doing right here.
right.
You understand? He's referring to, he's using unleavened bread to refer to us as a new people. You understand? Right. And it's also heavy what he's saying, because he's saying, for even Christ is our Passover. You understand? It says, for even Christ, our Passover is sacrificed for us. And Christ is also represented as a lamb.
Right.
So Christ was the same way we had to slaughter a lamb when we were in Egypt, and take the blood of that lamb and put it on the doorpost, so the angel could fly over and see the blood on our on the doorpost of our home and not kill us. That's the same thing that Christ is doing.
Right.
Paul is using Christ as a metaphor here to make us understand that Christ dying for us, Christ being that lamb that died for us, and now we're covered by his blood. Now we can live.
Right.
You understand? Now when Christ returns, when he comes back with the angels, if we're obeying Christ, if we're eating that lamb, you understand, if we have Christ in us, then guess what? Those angels are not going to hurt us. They're going to hurt who? Those who didn't put the blood on their doorposts. And unfortunately, that's our brothers and sisters who will not, or who decide to not get into ISUPK and learn how to have Christ in them and learn how to properly eat that lamb and have the spirit of Christ. They're going to perish. Right. Like our brothers and sisters perished in Egypt who didn't do it. Not saying, I don't know if they did or didn't, but that's what would have happened if our people in Egypt didn't put the blood on their on the posts of their homes. They would have died. It's lucky that was it. Verse 8. Therefore, let us keep the feast not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
That's it. That's what this is, man. That's what we're doing here tonight. We're not keeping this feast with malice. You understand? Listen, a lot of people, when they try to come into the truth, they fail because they're coming into the truth with their entire past behind them and they're holding on to that thing. The scriptures tell you once again that you have to be born again. You can't come into this past, you can't come into this truth and keep the Passover and be the person that you were before. You have to be a new person. That's why Paul said, let us keep the feast. He's talking about the feast of Passover and the feast of unleavened bread. It's like, yeah, Bible Shah, if you got me up. Bible Shah. Neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness. Like, you have to remember, this is the one thing I wanted to, this is the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I address today. When you in the truth, you have to be in the truth.
Right.
You cannot be halfway in the truth. You cannot be lukewarm. And being in the truth means that we are one body. We always have to remember that. We have to remember that we are one body.
Right.
We don't get to be separate and backbiting and these different types of things that we did in the world. Because once again, if you're doing the same thing, if you are the same evil bitch that you used to be in the world, you understand, talking behind people's backs and things like that about other people, then you're not in the truth. You're the same woman that slave name that we poured the oil and gave you a new name. You're not the new name. You're the old name. Same thing for you brothers. If you're going to continue to be the same way that you used to be in the world, in here, we'll find it out and we'll get you out of here. Because the scriptures tell us that we have to be of one mind, one body, and one baptism, serving one God. Where there's no division amongst us. We're all in this thing together. We all suffer the same way. We all go through the same things. We're all gonna keep the same feast days, but we have to make sure that we keep this thing tight. I always go back to how Commander General Yohana built this school back up from what it was when everybody left him. He built this thing back up on brotherhood.
Right.
And that's part of this being unleavened, not having the hypocrisy of the Sadducees and Pharisees. I had a million more scriptures I was going to read, but I know about time to close this thing out. But Christ said, don't have the leaven that the Sadducees and Pharisees have. Why? Because they're hypocrites. We're not going to allow hypocrites in our school. We're not going to allow the outside world to come into this school and destroy us. We're not going to allow it. Paul understood that. That's why Paul built the church. That's why Paul built the church and was able to solidify it. You understand? So we have to make sure that when we keep these feast days, remember that this isn't just a party. You understand? We all going to drink and eat this food and this and all of these things. But this is not just about having a party. This is about being together, being amongst one another. Same thing we had at Passover. It wasn't just a party, man. That thing was spiritual. The Passover is not a party. That thing is us keeping the law, statutes, and commandments together in unity. And that's what we got to do throughout the entire time until Christ comes. We have to continue in that same spirit. We have to continue in the spirit of we're not doing this to party. You said this yesterday. Was it yesterday? In the class? Yeah, you said this yesterday in the class. This isn't like a drinking club. This isn't something where we just come together, we drink, get drunk, and then, watch TV and eat food. That's not what this thing is about. We're here to serve Christ together. And the Feast of Unleavened Bread is proof that we're going to have to purge out all of the old leaven. We can't bring the world into these doors. You understand? So that's all I wanted to say. You have something on that, sir?
No, that's it. Covered it.
That's it, man. So once again, I'm glad to be here with my brothers and sisters today. And just I pray that everybody understands what this Feast of Unleavened Bread truly is. This isn't a burden. We're here together because this is what Christ wanted. He wanted us to be together. You understand? And serve Christ under one order, not somebody else doing the Feast of Unleavened Bread tomorrow, the next day with a whole different congregation. We're not talking about that. We're talking about us being together. Everybody that's in Arizona that serves Christ is here. You understand? Same thing all across the entire earth where we have our schools set up. You understand? We're all under one banner, and we should always make sure that that's important to the Most High in Christ. Right? You good, sir?
Mm-hmm.
With that, I imagine we can stand. Panya Gudam. I'm going to read these prayers. Beginning with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa,
Abanawa,
Shabbat Shemayah,
Shabbat Shemayah,
Kodash,
Kodash,
Hayah,
Hasha,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Balagwaka,
Balakaka,
Taba'ah,
Taba'ah,
Ratazaka,
Ratazaka,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Barataza,
Ba'rataza,
Kawa,
Kawa,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Bashamayah,
Bashamayah,
Nathalanawa,
Nathalanawa,
Lakam,
Lakam,
Kal Yawam,
Kayawam,
Wasalakanawa,
Wasalakanawa,
Kal Watnawa,
Kabwatnawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kal Wathinawa,
Kabwatinawa,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Tabayanawa,
Tabayanawa,
Panasai 1,
Manasaya 1,
Abal,
Abal,
Hawashai Nawa,
Hawashai-nawa,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Raikaya,
Rakaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Hamalakwa,
Amalakwa,
Waha'ala,
Waha'ala,
Wathapara,
Wathapara,
Lawulamyo, Aman.
Matzah, Matzah. Remember? Now in the English, our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
thy kingdom come,
thy kingdom
thy
come,
will be done
thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread.
and forgive us our debts
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our
as we
debtors.
forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
deliver us from evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom
and the power,
and the power
and the glory,
and the glory
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to read Kak with the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Babu Kashah.
Babu Kashah.
Nathanawa Hakak.
Latananawa Hakak.
Hakat Lord Pa'ah.
Hakak Larapa'ah.
Kal Maka'ala.
Kal Maka'ala.
Wakal Madawa.
Wakal Madawa.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Hamatazarayim.
Hamatazarayim.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Lakwayam.
Lahakwayam.
Hamathu.
Hamathu.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Arakawa.
Arakawa.
Hatama'ala.
Hatama'ala.
Lagar Shun.
Lagar Shun.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua. The water Amun. Now in the English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahushua.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the
The
power.
power to heal
Power to heal.
all manner of sickness
All manner of sickness.
and all manner of disease.
All manner of
The
disease.
power to cleanse the lepers.
Power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the
The
dead.
power against unclean spirits.
Power against unclean
To
spirits.
cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it. We're going to read Psalms 121st chapter in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Ahaharya.
Ahaharya.
Ma'ayan.
Ma'ayan.
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah.
Isaiah.
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 Ma'ayin.
Ma'ayin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shamayam.
Shamayam.
Wa'arataza.
Wa'arataza.
Al-Yathan.
Al-Yathan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Ragalka.
Ragalka.
Al-Yanawam.
Al-Yanawam.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Hana.
Hana.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Yayashan.
Yayashan.
Shamar.
Shawamar.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Zalka.
Al-Yad.
Al-Yad.
Yamyanka.
Yamyanka.
Yawamam.
Yawamam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayarak.
Wayarat.
Balayala.
Balayala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka.
Makal Rai.
Makal Rai.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Athnapashka.
Atnapaska.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Taza'atka.
Taza'aka.
Waba.
Waba.
Wa'aka.
Wa'aka.
Ma'aitha.
Ma'aitha.
Wa'ai.
Wa'ai.
Awalam.
I will love. Now in the English, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
You will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by
The
night.
Lord shall preserve thee from all
The
evil.
Lord shall preserve thee from all
He
evil.
shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going
The
out
Lord shall preserve thy going
and thy
out
coming in
and thy coming
from
in.
this time forth
This time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, in the Hebrew. Alahayo.
Alahayo.
Aldama Yalaka.
Aldama Yalaka.
All Thakarai.
Al Takarash.
All Tashakwat.
Al Tashakwat.
All.
Al
Kayahana.
Kayahana.
Our Yabyaka.
Awa Yabyaka.
Yahamaya 1.
Yahamaya 1.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al Aimaka.
Al Amaka.
Ya'ara Yamwa.
Yara Yamwa.
Sawada.
Sawada.
Wayatha.
Wayatha.
Ya'itazawa.
Ya'itazawa.
Al Tazapawanyaka.
Al Tazapawanyaka.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakidam.
Wanakakidam.
Magalia.
Magalia.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Sham Yashala.
Shem Yashala.
Awada.
Awada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawa Aitazawa,
Nawa Aitazawa.
Laba,
Laba.
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa.
Alyaka,
Alyaka.
Barya,
Kaya.
Yakarathwa,
Yakarathwa.
Ahalya,
Ahalya.
Adawam,
Adawam.
Wayashamai Aliyam,
Wayashama Alyam.
Mawa Abba,
Mawa'aba.
Wagaryam,
Garyam.
Gabal,
Gabal.
Wa'ima 1,
Wa'ima 1.
Wa'ima Lak,
Wa'ima Lak.
Palasha,
Palasha.
I'm Yeshabia,
I'm Yeshabia.
Tazawar,
Tazawar.
Gamashawar,
Gamashawar.
Nalawa,
Nalawa.
Imam,
Imam.
Hayawa,
Hayawa.
Zarwat,
Zarwat.
Labanya Lawat,
Labanya Lawat.
Salah,
Salah.
Aishalaham,
Ashalaham.
Kamadyan,
Kamadyan.
Kasaya,
Kasaya.
Sara'ah,
Sara'ah.
Kayabyan,
Kayabyan.
Fanakal,
Wanakal.
Kwayash 1,
Kwayash 1.
Nashamadwa,
Nashamad.
Ba'ayan,
Ba'ayan.
Dara,
Dara.
Hayawa,
Hayawa.
Daman,
Daman.
La'adama,
La'adama.
Shayathamwa,
Shayathamwa.
Nada,
Nadab.
Yamawa,
Yamawa.
Ka'ira,
Ka'ira.
Wakaza Abba,
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Bak,
Wakaza Bak.
Wakaza Zal,
Wakata Zol.
Mana'ai,
Mana'ai.
Call,
Call.
Nasaya Kamwa,
Nasaya Kamwa.
Ashar,
Ashar.
Amarwa,
Amarwa.
Naya Rashad,
Naya Rashad.
Lanawa,
Lanawa.
Na'awat,
Na'awat.
Alahayim,
Alahayim.
Alahayim,
Alahayim.
Shayathamwa,
Shayathamwa.
Kagalgala,
Galgala.
Kakwash,
Kakwash.
Lapanya Rakab,
Lapanya Rakab.
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash.
Tabaira,
Tabaira.
Ya'ira,
Ya'ira.
Wakala Haba,
Wakala Haba.
Talahat,
Talahat.
Haryam,
Hahayam.
Khan,
Khan.
Tharadapma,
Taradatma.
Basairika,
Wasairika.
Wabasa,
Wabasa.
Wapatka,
Wapatka.
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam.
Mala'a,
Mala'ah.
Panyaham,
Panyaham.
Kuala 1,
Kuala 1.
Wayabakwashwa,
Wayabakwashwa.
Shamka,
Shamka.
Yahawa,
Yahawa.
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa.
Wayabahawa,
Wayabahawa.
Ayai,
Ayai.
Wayakaparwa,
Wayakaparwa.
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa.
Wayadaiwa,
Wayadaiwa.
Wayabahawa,
Wayabahawa.
Kaya Atha,
Kaya'atha.
Shamka,
Shamka.
Yahawa,
Yahawa.
Labadka,
Labadka.
Ayawan,
Al-Yawan.
Alkal,
Al-Qal.
Alrataza.
Al-Rataza. Now in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thou silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy
And be
peace.
not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo thine enemies
For lo thine enemies.
make a tumult.
Make a tumult.
And they that hate thee
And then they hate thee.
have lifted up the head.
Have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted against thine hidden
And
ones.
consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said, Come,
They have said, Come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Israel
Let
The name of Israel
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For
They have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom.
and the Ishmaelites
And the Ishmaelites.
of Moab,
Of Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
And the Hagarenes.
Gebal,
Gebal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur also joined with
They
them.
have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Selah,
Salah.
do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
As unto the Midianites.
as to Sisera,
As to Sisera.
as to Jabin,
As to Jabin.
at the brook of Kison,
At the brook of
Which
Kison,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like a ram.
and like Ze'er.
And like Ze'er.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as Zebah,
all their princes as a vow.
and as Zalmunna,
And as Almunna,
who said,
who said,
Let us take to
Let
ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of God in possession.
the houses of God in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God.
make them like a wheel,
Make them like a wheel.
as the stubble before the wind,
As the stubble before the wind.
as the fire burneth they wood,
As the fire burned the wood,
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
and
As the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
So persecute them with thy tempest.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame.
that they may seek thy name, O Lord.
That they may seek thy name, O Lord.
Let them be confounded
Let them be confounded
and troubled
and troubled
forever.
forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame and perish,
let them be put to shame and perish.
that men may know that thou,
That they may know that thou,
whose name alone is Yahweh,
whose name alone is Yahweh,
are the most high over all the earth.
are the most high of all the earth. All right, we're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatha Yahweh.
Barakatha Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Ma'aka Allah.
Wa Ma'aka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawab Yahana.
Alawab Yahana.
Alawab Yahana.
Ha'alawab Yahana.
Hasaranya.
Hasaranya.
Hakwatazayanya.
Hakwatazayanya.
Hakaya Yoya.
Hakayayoyim.
Wa Agwathia.
Wa Ha'akwatiyim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Wa Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
What I'm on.
What I'm on. Now in the English, bless you Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahweh Shai,
And Yahweh Shai.
and Michael,
And Michael.
and the angels,
And the angels.
commanding General Yohana,
Commanding General
the
Yohana.
generals,
The generals.
the captains,
The captains.
the officers,
The officers.
the troopers,
The troopers.
and the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shai,
in
The name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Sorry, sisters could be seated. We're going to get a men courtesy salute. Give men of Israel a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim, Barak.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah.
All right, sorry towards the sister. Sister Amadim, which means the same. Get a sister a courtesy salute as well. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim, Barak. Yahweh Shamar Lefel Ba'Shem Yahushua. Yadu Matah, dismissed.